When you are coming to entrepreneurship, it's not instant money in the bank. Just because you're passionate about it doesn't mean that the rest of the world is passionate about it. It's about finding.
Bronwyn Ison is an entrepreneur, a wellness advocate whose mission is to inspire confidence, self-worth, and hope. As the founder of Evolve Yoga, she continues to help thousands of people embrace healthier lifestyles through not only yoga, but online programs.
When I'm coaching people, I'm trying to do my best to meet them where they are and take them where they need to go.
There's a sense of continual growth with you. How do you do that?
The relaunch, there's almost a thrill in it. So I'm going back on this wellness journey and get people healthy again.
If I'm a 50 plus, what are you suggesting?
You can't outwork a bad diet. There is a way to eating properly. Start your day hydrated and with.
So I have to say a huge shout out to Bronwyn. So great to have you here.
Oh, Hilary, thank you so much for having me. And what a great introduction. I'm like, wow, who is that girl? That girl.
Pinch yourself, girl, because that's how I truly feel about you. That's why it's so easy.
Thank you. Yeah.
And it was amazing having you in the room and just seeing you light up. And as you said before we hit the play button, you're like, there's a lot of clarity that comes with events like that. But where I want to go right now is really talking about the relaunch that ended up changing your trajectory of where you were going, and the relaunch that kind of like really stopped you in your tracks.
Yeah, it's interesting, Hilary, because I don't really tell my story that often anymore, and I do appreciate that you're inquiring. In 2008, yes, as you mentioned in the intro, our country saw an economic crisis that was, for the most part affected everybody, unless you were on the other side of it, picking up properties and doing other things to, improve their lives in the way. So at the time, my now ex-husband, we owned a mortgage company. And so that should tell you right there. That was not probably an industry you wanted to be in at that time. And so my marriage was not that great. And I had a toddler and an infant. And like I said, our marriage was not that great. And so when all of that really was crashing, so was my marriage. So was my health. I had an upper respiratory disease called valley fever. And so between being fatigued from that, I had just had a baby, I have a toddler, we're losing everything. I don't know where my life is going to end up. What ended up happening now is that, in short, we needed to leave our house because it was being taken from us. I ended up needing to turn in my car because I knew that they were coming for it. And I moved back to California, and he went back up to Washington where he was from. And that is when our split ended up happening. So I moved back to California, which is where I was from, because I needed help with my children. And I went back and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have no idea. I hadn't been working. My background was in broadcast journalism. I had been doing yoga for years. I was like, well, I know how to do these two things, and these two things are going to be a way that maybe I can make some money. And so I started.
So I have to say here, you had the trifecta kind of hitting you. You had the health issues, you had the business issues, you had the relationship issues, which are, the core foundation for what ReLaunch does. And you also mentioned as you were beginning this, that this is not something you really go into. You don't really talk about this. And I think as women, I hear that a lot, that sometimes, we don't really want to rehash the back. It's like, okay, I did it. But it's so important because there's so many people that are going through things right now. There might not be something that is a global relaunch happening, but it is an internal relaunch, a crisis, maybe in their health, in their business, maybe in the relationship, and they have all three. So what is it about, and I'm just really curious about this one, what is it that you feel that you haven't shared this story as often as potentially you could have?
Well, in the past, I actually would share my story more often.
Mhm.
I would speak about it because, well, to fast forward, and aside from, when the other thing that I ended up having to go through too was I was 33, 34 years old, filing a
Mhm.
$14 million bankruptcy. Okay, that's a lot of money when you're that age. You can't even fathom it.
Mhm.
And I was on food stamps and state aid. And so, fast forward years ahead, I ended up opening a yoga studio, which is Evolve Yoga in La Quinta. And I had that studio for 10 years. But I would tell that story because people were like, "How did you do this? How did, and I'm like, well, I did this and I did that." And so that's when I was able to tell my story a little bit more. And as a single mom and running a business and all of the stuff. But then as time went on, I didn't feel like it was important to tell the story anymore unless I'm asked. Because, and it's not that I don't want to go back there, it's that I'm even when I'm coaching people, I'm trying to do my best to meet them where they are and take them where they need to go versus rehashing their past. But our past is very important and should never be ignored. And I look back, and when you're like giving that intro, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have come a long way. And
And
I
I
think
did
that's
it. And the
important for
silver
women to
linings,
remember.
but the silver linings of what brought you,
Oh
right?
yeah,
That
absolutely.
you are who you are right now,
Yeah,
sitting in front of me
absolutely.
because of all those.
And
And that is somebody who's going through major things right now. I want to say, and they've all heard mine. Now they're hearing yours.
mhm.
There is a form of like shame and
Oh,
blame and the what if, and how could I have done things differently? And, going through divorce with two little kids, I had three little kids.
mhm.
There's this point of like, oh, and came from a divorce family. So I wanted to try to avoid divorce in whatever way I could because I felt like, oh, you always want to do better for your own
Yeah.
children. But, that's part of my story. That's
Mhm.
part of the silver linings of who I am and the fact that I was able to meet my husband, Eric. E and I now are celebrating our 10-year anniversary. And it's like, this wouldn't have happened. So
Right.
thank you for like sharing that. And I want people to realize that I think the more you talk about
Mhm.
how you have overcome, people can relate to you more than, oh, social media, you look so good. Everything
Right.
is so perfect. Yeah, no, it's not.
No, it's
No.
not. We get to show what we want. And for that woman who is listening, it's okay at that moment in time. Like it doesn't feel like it, but I was embarrassed. I was shamed. I felt shameful. I, um, I felt like a failure. I felt like I had so many different emotions playing to where I was a shut in, and I'm an extrovert, and I couldn't wait to get away from people because I didn't want to be questioned. I didn't want to tell my story. I was still so deep in it. And then once I started to be able to come out of it was when I was able to talk about it a little bit more. But for that woman who may be in that spot, have hope because these are the stepping stones, the building blocks, everything is it. I promise you it'll be for your good. It will be for your good and you will rise above because strong women do that. And if your listener is listening right now, she's a strong woman. She's already strong enough to be here to listen to your podcast.
And you know what? As we're coming upon, we might even be there now, 300 episodes. And I many times, either on air or off air, say, if you could go back and
Mm.
if you could change what happened, would you? This is women and this is men. I have never heard anyone say, oh, yeah, I'd go back and clean that slate, start over again. It doesn't happen. Like
No.
everyone says, nope, I am who I am. I'm here where I am. Yeah, there's a lot of valleys. They talk,
Yes.
ain't no valley, or ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough. Yeah. But in order to get to that top of the mountain, you got to go down to get back up,
It's
go down to get,
ebbs and
not just stay
flows
high.
for sure.
So let's go back to how you chose, because you said, you broadcaster, reporter. How did you go and decide, you know what, yoga studio, my passion, this is what I want to be doing?
Well, I was working for a company out of LA where I was doing television hosting for them, and it was medical hosting. So I was traveling around the United States with them and interviewing doctors, to cosmetic dentistry. And they eventually kind of fizzled out. So their company shut down. And then I just started working at a very prestigious club teaching yoga. And so I was like, okay, I'll keep teaching. But I wasn't getting enough classes there to like give me enough money. So that's when I went and I approached, I was given the opportunity through a friend. She introduced me to the polo field owner in where they hold Coachella. So, if you've heard of
Oh, wow.
Coachella, yeah. So
Of course. Love it in
I
fact.
used to run my classes out of there in the Rose Garden. And it was really supposed to be for the polo players and they wouldn't show up. And so I'm like, do you mind if I open this up to the public? He's like, yeah, sure. He gave me the space for free. So I went out on my Vistaprint budget, made cards, blanketed the town. And over a course of a year, it started to build up and people started showing up. And then he came by one time and he was like, I think I need to start charging you for the room because the room was filling up. And I was like, oh, and then people were encouraging me. They're like, you should open a space. So that's when I opened a space. So it wasn't really like a choice between the broadcasting and the yoga. It was like the yoga just started taking that front seat where the broadcasting was taking the back seat. And I know now that was what I needed to do, not only for myself with the breathing and the physical aspects of it, but I needed that schedule. I needed that flexible schedule to be there for my daughters, because had I been working for a television station, whether I was dayside or nightside, it never would have been a great schedule for me to raise my kids. And it gave me an opportunity to start a business, which I knew nothing about. I didn't know how to do it. I look back and I'm like, I don't know what I was doing. But when your back is against the wall and you're looking at two little ones that are like, you need to feed me and take care of me, I'm like, I'll figure this out. Late nights, long hours, tears, but laughter. And I built a community within that community that is still thriving today. I mean, it's a blessing, really. I'm so glad you're even bringing it up because I haven't even thought about it in so long.
And so, yeah, let's talk about that, because with somebody like we were talking a lot about AI before we hit the go button here with this show. There's a sense of continual growth with you.
Mm-hmm.
And what changed for you that said, okay, I'm doing something different now? Like what goes through your mind? How do you do that, and what happened?
Um, this is going to sound so bad. I wouldn't say that I get bored, but I know I feel like the relaunch, the starting over, there's almost something, there's like a thrill in it. And so when I start to know that I'm about to hit my ceiling, I know that I need to move on. So I'll give you an example. So like even when I had my yoga studio, it was like 1,200 square feet. And in the first year, I created a 6-figure income out of 1,200 square feet, which was amazing.
Amazing.
But I was like, when I look back at that, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I did that. But I look back and I'm like, you know what? If this is all it's ever going to be, I've hit my ceiling here. I'm going to need to put a retractable roof on this place. Otherwise, I'm going to
That's so great.
exactly where I am forever. And that's when I started expanding my business, teaching at festivals, doing retreats, doing more speaking. I got out there more. So even in 2020, it was right before COVID hit, and I had already announced that I was closing my studio and they could find me online because I started my platform, my online, in 2017. And it was time for me to move on. I was like, I want to go more into like the marketing consulting end of things. And I had some clients, and then COVID hit and they're like, okay, well, we don't know what this is. So that's when I decided to start over, relaunch. And I ended up accepting a corporate position here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And that's what brought me here as a marketing director for a wellness company. Then I kind of hit my ceiling there, and I'm like, I'm going to relaunch and I'm going to start over. And here I am again. And I'm like coming back to my roots and just being able to share wellness with women who are eager to learn better how to take care of themselves with their mindset. But really, I want to help women get healthy. I want to keep them moving. I mean, it's like our movement is our medicine. and healthy supplementation, good eating plans. Not to where, I want to help women feel comfortable in their bodies and accept who they are and have them feel confident about themselves.
So one thing that has really impressed me with your journey is that you then decided entrepreneurship, you then went into corporate. And then you're like, hell no, I won't go. One of those moments.
Yeah. And I learned a lot, and I'm grateful for it. And it got me here to Scottsdale because I wanted to come back here. This is where I started.
Right.
And it got me here, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm blessed. And it was a great company to work for. But at the same time, I knew what was in my heart. And my heart tells me, go out there and help more women. Go out there and help them.
Let me ask
what they want to do.
Because there's people that want to hear. You're in corporate, and you were in corporate how long?
4.5 years.
Okay. Long enough to realize, hey, this is my corporate existence. This is like, okay. Did you leave corporate and then start this next adventure, or did you say, I need to go all in? I think it's really important to hear your perspective on how you went from corporate, left, and started what you created now.
Well, I had a little nest egg, so I was prepping myself. So I would never suggest to someone like, you've got a great corporate 6-figure job and you just walk away from it and go do your own thing. Because even in the interim, when you are coming back to entrepreneurship, it's not instant money in the bank. Like there is like a whole thing that's, you have to build that.
You mean, wait, overnight success is not a real thing?
Not a real thing, Hilary. No.
Yeah, I hate to burst anyone's bubble out there. Yeah. It does take time.
Yes.
For
just
sure.
Because you're passionate about it doesn't mean that the rest of the world is passionate about it either. It's about finding, your niche group of people who are really going to be on board with what you're doing. So no, it's not instant success, but I went all in with respects to like, I'm going to go back on this wellness journey and get people healthy again, via, movement, supplementation, and being in the right mindset to do it, because you really need all three. Like if your mindset isn't there, you're not going to want to eat the right way. You don't want to move. You don't want to supplement. You don't want to do any of it. And so I'm trying to remember where I was. I'm sorry, Hilary. Get me back on track here.
Well, no, what I love about this is you decided that your real passion from being in corporate, you're like, this is what lights me up, being in wellness, helping. Are you specifically helping women, men, both? How did you decide specifically gaining clarity around what you really wanted to do?
I think I went back to my roots of when I had my studio, and I had a predominant like female base, and she was typically 40 plus. And I was 30.
The sweet midlifer.
Yeah.
I got it.
And that was the woman that was in my studio. That was the woman that would hang out afterwards. That was the woman who showed up to the events when I had them at the studio. Now, I was 38 years old at the time when I opened my studio, and I'm now 51. So it's, I look back and go, oh my gosh, but I was not even that midlife woman yet. So in a lot of ways, and
by the way, for those that are watching this, you look fantastic. So whatever you're doing, I want to be doing. Let's start getting into the tips and the tricks of like specifically what you're teaching right now, how you cultivate this community. And, really if I'm a, 50 plus or 40 plus, what are you suggesting these days?
Well, I'm definitely suggesting keep moving, ladies. Stay in motion. All right. So it's so easy to get into a sedentary lifestyle. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, you find yourself glued in front of your computer. So every 90 minutes, here's a little trick for you. If you're sitting in front of that computer, every 90 minutes, get up and move. I don't care if it's for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15, 20, go do something. Go fold the laundry, especially if you work from home, go fold the laundry, go make your bed, take a walk around the block, clear your head. I would highly suggest that as one little tip. The eating, don't sit there and snack on stuff that isn't going to fuel your body and your brain. Eat fruit instead of like potato chips. Diet, I always tell people you can't outwork a bad diet.
Hmm. It's so true
I know
when,
that sounds really
and I
harsh, but
think
you can't.
when I
It's
but I think people realize, like, we all know what, if you eat something, if it's a happy face or a sad face or you're neutral. You
right,
do. We all know what is good and what is bad.
right.
We just try to, like, kind of skirt away from it, go around it. And I have to literally, I have a chip addiction. I love chips. I don't know why. I've always loved them, like tortilla chips. So good, so good. But I will sit there and I'll say, all right, I know they're not doing anything for my body. Nada, 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 nada. But then I'll say, okay, if I'm going to do chips, I'll have like a handful
Mm.
and then I'll have to do something with it as well. So if I'm going to eat this that I know is not going to do anything, I'm going to enjoy it because I love my chips, but then I'll be like, fine. I'll have like a half a bowl of cottage cheese. Now I'm starting to like dipping the chips into the cottage cheese because I've hooked my brain into realizing like, there's a benefit now to those zero, responsiveness to my body, healthy, energetic, but that cottage cheese makes them good.
Yeah.
So it's funny, right?
Yeah.
We do know.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect by any means, 'cause I like that crunch. I like the crackers. I like that too. Gosh, we could go on and on about things that I could definitely suggest for like eating and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I would never want to shame someone into like, okay, well, don't eat this and don't eat. I mean, but there is a way to be eating properly. Ladies, I'm telling you, 40 plus, especially over 50, start your day hydrated and with protein. I hydrate every morning with the supplements that I take, and then 2 hard-boiled eggs, okay, because that's one of your best forms of protein on an empty stomach. I mean, and I'm telling you, you will have a lot of great energy or any kind of protein that sounds good to you. But I'm not packaged protein. So I'm not saying a protein shake. You can do the protein shake.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. We have to dive in here a little more because at this event that we were mentioning, I was introduced to a protein shake in the
Mhm.
morning, a protein. It had like, I don't know, 20 or 30 grams of protein. It tastes like a chocolate milk. It was super, super, super good.
Mhm.
But you're saying, whoa, 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 watch out. What am I watching out for in that?
I would say, I'm not saying don't drink protein drinks because I do too, but I don't
Yep.
start my morning
Yep.
with it. So I'm saying pure
Ah,
protein,
okay. So
like
you're
animal
saying cottage
protein.
cheese. Like you could do cottage
You could do
cheese.
cottage cheese, but I'm telling you, and I mean, I don't know, my husband's crazy. I mean, he'll sit there and eat like a chicken breast in the morning, but he's a guy. I mean, I'm not going to eat a chicken
Ah,
breast
so
in
you're
the morning.
saying I heard you just say animal protein. You're
Animal
like
protein.
really into that
Yep. First thing,
as that first. And you said eggs. What are some other examples? Eggs, chicken.
eggs, chicken, turkey.
Yep.
Like I do turkey burgers. I make turkey balls. I mean, and one thing that I do like,
For breakfast.
pardon? Oh, yeah,
For breakfast?
sometimes like instead of like, or eggs, I mean, you could scramble eggs,
Yeah.
however you want to
Yep.
do your eggs, but I do 2 hard boiled because it's convenient. And then I'm like
Yep.
going out for a walk. So I'm making sure like first thing in the morning. So first thing in the morning, I have a whole routine in the morning. So ladies, if you don't have a routine and you are all over the place, the rest of your day, you're going to be all over the place. Does that make sense?
Okay. It does. And I want to ask you, there's a lot of there's a fad right now of not eating until, 16
Oh,
hours.
like fasting.
What do well, yeah, but it's called intermittent fasting. I think
Yep.
that's,
Mhm.
and so what do you think of that? I mean,
I think that's great.
what's right?
I do. I think that's great for the body. I think it's a great reset. Yeah, I mean,
But not all the time.
I don't think necessarily all the time. I mean, I don't know about a daily thing. I think that when you feel like you need to reset your body, you can do
Yep.
that. Like I offer a whole lean challenge. It's really it's a reset for your body, and it's not, the goal is really to reset your body. But women are losing, and even men are losing anywhere from 4 to 8 pounds in a week, but they're losing that visceral fat around the waist, which is where most people are gaining the weight. Right? This is the
Mm,
unhealthy, the around the waistline is not where we want to be holding on to our weight. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely an advocate of very healthy eating. So you're asking me like secrets and stuff.
right.
The supplementation, of course, the movement. I mean, it really all, if you think about it, all connects, right? But that
It
morning
sure does.
plan is big. I get up, I rinse my face, I do my hydration, I sit down. Then I do have coffee. I'm not going to say that I don't drink coffee. I do coffee. And then I sit and I do my devotional. That's really important for me. So I do my devotional in the morning and like a, small amount of like meditation, quietness. And then I dive into my day. And yeah, and I eat that protein and then I go for a walk and then I sit down. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. But
How
I'm up
long does this?
early. I'm up at like 4:30 in the morning.
I was going to say, because everyone's hearing and they're like, "Wow, that sounds like a really good plan." You're up at about 4:30, so you're part of that 5 a.m. club.
I am.
So I try that. I do. I try that, and I hit it about maybe 2-3 days a week. There's sometimes where I'm like, oh, I've just had like a business thing that went longer, or a personal
Of
thing.
course.
So there are those days, but I do have a certain routine, and I got to tell you, I love it, and it involves kind of that not jumping on and doing work right away. It involves, I actually use an infrared mask.
Love
I have my green tea. I write in my journal. A lot of times I'm using the 3-minute journal. Sometimes I just like free for all, whatever I'm really thinking. But I think it does. And I crazy enough, I have my own deck of cards right now that I'm using. And I pull one of those and I'm like, just gives me something to think about. I do think whatever it is out there for who, when you're listening to this, you got to have something that will light you up. What's going to start your
But
day
you see,
on
Hilary,
that light?
that's why you are who you are. And that is why you're able to go out and do what you're doing for other women. I mean, you do have a routine, you do have a plan, you do know where you're going. And I would have to say, I mean, your event definitely laid out a roadmap for women to really step back and go, okay, what am I doing? Where am I going? Oh my gosh, you mean I can go there? Any woman can go anywhere. And I didn't think I was going anywhere. I mean, I was down in the dumps. So have hope, ladies. And I mean, Hilary, you're amazing. I mean, your event, I didn't know I go into events never knowing what to expect. And I think that's always a great way to go in because then you don't have expectations. And you exceeded any sort of, like I said, I didn't have any expectations, but you exceeded. It was beautifully done. It was well organized. Your speakers were fabulous. The room was great. Kristen was amazing. Super attentive.
Oh,
Like everybody is great.
wow.
You
Well,
did a
I
fabulous
appreciate you
job.
and I appreciate you. I appreciate you being there. And so, Bronwyn, where can people find you? Where can they like get involved in your world?
They can get involved in my world, and I'm very grateful. Thank you, Hilary. So bronwynison.com. So I don't know if you'll put that maybe in the notes.
We'll definitely put it in the show notes for
Okay.
sure.
And then evolveyogaonline.com. So you can find me at both of those places. If you're looking just to move, I got like 25 plus hours for you to get moving. The classes run from anywhere from sometimes 15 to 45 minutes, depending on how much time you have. And then the bronwynison.com, you can find the yoga there too, but that's really where you're going to find more of working on the mindset and supplementation. The yoga's there too. So I'm just super grateful to be here. Thank you, Hilary.
Well, and I do have to say, online yoga classes,
Mhm.
I really think that, and I'm super excited to check yours out. I think that they are the best way to, and this is a problem. I have my little skinny arms have a tendency to lose muscle, and yoga is incredible. It literally defines it faster than anything I've ever done.
Yeah,
You just have to do it, right? You just have, and by having online programs, there's no excuse. You can do it. You can do it.
that's
We know you can do
right.
it.
That's right.
Well, again, thank you so much for being here. Such a pleasure. And everyone go check it out. You got to go. Is it Bronwyn? And then the last name, spell it. It's L or no, Ison.
Yes. So BRONWYNISON.com.
And you can check out that site. You can check out yoga. And I'm excited. Like I said, you're going to be seeing me on there, checking some of the yoga classes out. And
Awesome.
until next time, here what we always do is we say, it's the live now, love now, relaunch now. And I would challenge people right now. We're coming into year end. We might even at the point when this comes out, we're at year end. Think about where you can be and how fast can you change your body with yoga? How fast?
How fast?
A week?
Well, you can definitely start to ease any sort of stress and anxiety through the breathing techniques. You will start to improve your flexibility for sure. You can make all that happen within 7 days, and you can do yoga every day. All right. So
That's a great point. I hadn't even thought about
can do
that.
it every day. Just choose what you want to do. Even if it's restorative yoga, all right, where you're doing more relaxation, more internal work by using props, you're still doing yoga. So you can do it every single day.
Amazing.
And
And it's something you can
does
do.
shape your body, like you said, Hilary. I'm glad you brought that up. That was one of the reasons I fell into the love with the practice, because it shaped my body like no other discipline.
No other. When I do it, it is like it's the best.
Mhm.
Again, thank you so much and look forward to hearing more about the things you're going to be working on. Again, you got to start. You got to make a decision to relaunch now. And what if right now you just heard 1, 2, 3 tips? You're like, all right, Hilary, I'm going to do it. My suggestion, you got to start. That's how you do it. It's go time. And until next week, go out and make it happen. We'll see you again next week. Bye bye.